Representative Dana Rohrabacher has always been an idiot, but this is absolutely stunning and appalling even by his standards. Look at what he said last week about the terror attack in Iran.
We have recently seen an attack on Iran, and the Iranian government, the mullahs, believe that Sunni forces have attacked them. This may signal a ratcheting up of certain commitments by the United States of America. And as far as I'm concerned, I just want to make this point and see what you think. Isn't it a good thing for us to have the United States finally backing up Sunnis who will attack Hezbollah and the Shiite threat to us? Isn't that a good thing? And if so, maybe this is a Trump, maybe it's a Trump strategy of actually supporting one group against another, considering that you have two terrorist organizations.
Those attacks were claimed by the Islamic State. It's never in our interest to support a terrorist group like the Islamic State.
This is how politicians think in Washington. That comment that Dana Rohrabacher just made is not some sort of fringe, like, oh, lunatic, look at what he just said. Virtually the entire elected Republican Party in Washington, that's what they think. Think about how crazy that is, what he just said. Okay, it's not like we haven't tried this. We tried. Ronald Reagan did it with the Mujahideen in the 80s. What did he do? He armed and funded the Mujahideen in Afghanistan because at the time the Soviet Union was waging a war in Afghanistan. So we armed and backed the Mujahideen, and they fought back the Soviets. And then guess what? All the money and the weapons that we gave to the Mujahideen, they broke up and became the Taliban and Al-Qaeda. So we ended up arming and funding Al-Qaeda, who then eventually, of course, used those weapons on us and attacked us. So, bad idea? I don't know. You tell me. Was the spread of Al-Qaeda and the Taliban a good thing? No, it was horrific, right? So you can thank the U.S. for propping them up. Would have been hard for them to make it if they didn't have our money and our weapons that we gave them. Because we thought, the Soviets are so bad. They're the real threat. Why don't we arm these radical Islamic terrorists? And that won't come back to bite us in the ass. Whoops, I guess it did. They're still trying it again in Syria and Yemen. Trump just did a $110 billion weapons deal with Saudi Arabia. You don't think some of those weapons are being funneled to jihadists? Of course they are. Who do you think are the ground troops in Yemen? Al-Qaeda, fighting away the Shias who had taken over the country. In Syria, they're funding Sunni extremists on the ground to topple Assad, Shia Alawite leader. So the guy acts like, I got an idea. Nobody's ever thought of this, but isn't it? Maybe we should back ISIS. Oh. And then also, he says, one terrorist group against another. No. They didn't attack a terrorist group in Iran. They attacked innocent civilians. They went into the parliament building and they started lighting everybody up. You know who a lot of the people were who they killed? Cleaners. Cleaners in the parliament building. They were just random people. They didn't get terrorists. They killed innocent civilians in Iran. But see, that's the point. This guy, there's no such thing in his mind. Guilty enough. You're Iranian. What am I going to do? Guilty enough. So maybe you deserve to die because you're Iranian. You were born on that patch of dirt. So guilty. Guess what, Dana? That's how terrorists think. That's how terrorists think. That's how Al-Qaeda thought when they attacked us. Hey, look, we're killing Americans, but Americans are collectively guilty for all the bad things America has ever done. So guilty enough. Innocent civilian in the Twin Towers? I don't care. Guilty enough. They're American. This is what he's doing with Iran. One terrorist group attacking another. But there weren't terrorists in Iran who were killed. They were innocent civilians. You loathsome scumbag son of a bitch. And moron of all morons. And then also he says, isn't it good? Because then we can, if we arm like ISIS and they attack, it's like we're attacking the Shia threat against us. The Shia threat against us. What the fuck are you talking about? What the fuck are you talking about? Go back. There's somebody do a statistical analysis. You go back and look at how many of the suicide bombing attacks and terrorist attacks that come from Muslims against the U.S. What percentage of them are Sunni versus what percentage of them are Shia? Go ahead, I'll wait. You tell me, what are we looking at? In modern times, fully 0% of the attacks are from Shias. Does this idiot know that? You know what it is? He's injected the neocon propaganda right into the vein. So he's, oh yeah, Iran is the root of all evil. They're the #1 state sponsor of terrorism. Really? Name the last attack that Iran did against us. Go ahead. Name the last Shia suicide bomber. Go ahead. It's not Iran. It's Saudi Arabia. It's Wahhabism. It's Salafism. It's ultra-Orthodox fundamentalist Sunni Islam. That's what it is. It ain't the Shias. It ain't them. But this guy's so thoroughly chugged the neocon Kool-Aid that he can taste Bill Kristol's ass on his tongue. And Paul Wolfowitz and Donald Rumsfeld and Dick Cheney. Isn't it great? Maybe we'll back Al-Qaeda and it'd be great. And by the way, he acts like he's high on Vicodin. That's what he looks like to me. Like an old guy who popped too many pills. Wouldn't it be great? Tell me where I'm wrong in thinking about this. What if we back ISIS and ISIS does stuff and it's like, okay, but at least they're killing other terrorists in Iran. And he talks about Hezbollah. Hezbollah is fighting ISIS. You know, look, generally speaking, the idea of the enemy of my enemy is my friend is not a good thing. That's not enough. It's not enough like, oh yeah, they're my enemy, so let me make an alliance with another enemy so that I attack them. That's not a good idea. But if you were gauging the relative evilness of Iran versus Saudi Arabia or Iran versus Salafi jihadists, that's not a close one. That's not close. Iran is significantly more modern than Saudi Arabia. You know, you have, again, Shias have not been committing terror attacks against the West. You have, that's the situation with them versus Saudi Arabia and jihadists and ISIS and Al-Qaeda. We know what they're up to. So if you were going to form an alliance with that mindset of, well, let's go against the greater evil, then he has it backwards. You would align yourself with Iran. Just a natural alliance because everybody's against ISIS, right? Well, no, he's showing us that's not the case. He's showing us that I'd rather side with ISIS to get the threat of Iran, the threat. Right, there's the big threat. They're about to attack Nebraska. Quick, arm ISIS. These guys are so dumb, and they've so thoroughly bought into the propaganda coming out of DC neocon think tanks that he says this in public and he's not embarrassed. I don't even know who the guy is who he's talking to there, but that guy was like, are you fucking stupid? What did you just say? ISIS did the attack. Let's not say anything good about them. He's like, oh. Give me more Vicodin then.